What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about Stephen Fry and John Cleese talking about Americans. So today, I'm very interested in hearing from these two very famous Brits and what their thoughts and experiences are with Americans. And I think this is going to be actually very interesting because both of these individuals are known not just for their comedy, but for being, thoughtful, intelligent people. So let's check it out. This is John Cleese and Stephen Fry talking about Americans.
They're so deeply uncomfortable about every aspect of sex that they don't much care about wars or destroying the environment or financial corruption. But anything to do with sex sets them off. And
Okay. Okay. This is not where what I thought this was going to be about, or where we were going to start with, at least. Okay, let's hear more.
it's because these people are operating at a very, very low level of mental health. They are incapable of understanding the teaching.
That's the clip? That's the clip. We're deeply uncomfortable with sex. Not obsessed, but deeply uncomfortable and don't care about, important matters in the world. And did he also manage to put in there that we're, disturbed or depressed as well? Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, putting any American ego aside, I guess there might be an element of truth to that. I mean, a lot of our advertisements or adverts, use sex to sell things. Our movies oftentimes have sex in them. So are we deeply uncomfortable with it? That's a little random to me. I don't know.
You have a place here, I take it, right?
Yes, here in Hollywood.
Right.
I love America. I used to live in New York and I have an apartment there. I absolutely adore this country. I like you. I feel I could live here for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
What?
Anytime they say something positive about America, it's just going to be me going like, oh yeah. Very good point. Yes. Well, that's good. Stephen Fry has had some positive experiences in America, in New York, I think he said. I want to hear more from John Cleese. What else does he have to say?
Fascinates me is how people watching her on television, can they not see that she's basically learned certain speeches? If you lined up from Europe, left-wingers, centrists, right-wingers, you wouldn't find 10%. You probably wouldn't find 5% who think she's good enough to run the United States.
Who? Who are we talking about? I feel like they didn't say. Who? Well, okay. John Cleese giving his political opinions, I guess. This whole interview compilation is really kind of all over the place. But that's okay. It's kind of interesting, just hearing their random thoughts and experiences about America, American culture. Yeah, all right.
The nation of America came here by choice.
Okay, I want to make sure I hear the whole thing here.
Enough to run the United States.
The population of America came here by choice.
Okay.
They wanted to come. They wanted to leave Europe, mostly Europe,
right,
and come here and start a new life. So, in a sense, the gene pool is people who said, no, this isn't good enough. There can be something better. Mm-hmm. I'm leaving. And they left behind people who said, oh, I don't.
No, yeah, we'll stay.
I think we'll stay. So Europe is just basically a gene pool of people whose ancestors said, oh, I don't think I can risk. No, I can't risk it. America is a gene pool of people say, let's risk it.
Yeah,
let's try it.
And you think that's still
interesting?
I feel it. I feel pride in.
That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Is the whole video like John Cleese saying like edgy stuff about America, hot takes on the United States? And Stephen Fry seems very pro-America. Honestly, he's being very complimentary in these clips anyway, which I don't mind. Interesting take. I know Americans have kind of a stereotype as being maybe a little more out there, maybe more, what's the word? Not gullible, but like, not so aware of our limitations. So maybe more willing to take risks. Whereas there's a stereotype of British people that are maybe more safe, maybe a little more aware, for better or for worse, and therefore not as big of risk takers. That's such an generalization. But Stephen Fry is saying like, well, America was, the first people to immigrate here were Europeans who were a little crazy. If you're going to get in an old rickety wooden ship and sail across the ocean to some uncharted continent, way back in the day, you take risk. Has that been passed down in our genes? I don't know. That's an interesting idea. I don't know if that's a real thing or not. Maybe, I don't know.
I feel pride in America, but then I felt pride in America before I even set foot here. It's a very odd thing. I would watch movies and, I know, something like John Ford's Young Mr. Lincoln, and I would feel a sort of emotional woomph inside me as if it was the founding of my country. And America has that.
Wow. Stephen Fry is very pro-America. I didn't even, know that. I just thought he was kind of a funny, interesting guy. I've seen a couple clips of him here and there. In these clips, now obviously these are clips of him talking about America and Americans, and maybe there's clips of him criticizing America, but so far, he's being very, very complimentary, which I have to say, in a lot of these videos, that's not always what I see. So that's kind of, I'm kind of, pleased. I'll take it.
I think the most puzzling thing for foreigners is American football. American sports.
Then we have John Cleese here to just bring us down, just reel us back in, humble us a little bit, tell us about our stupid American football.
Were basically constructed by very clever people who understood that what Americans wanted to do more than anything else was talk. So you invented sports that were extremely violent, but which only occupied a very short bit of activity. Do you see what I mean? Like basketball, 24 seconds, American football, 7 seconds,
When it comes
I mean, I can't necessarily say that he's completely wrong. Yeah, a lot of our sports are focused around really short plays, and then the commentators kind of talk for a while, especially American football. That one I agree with. It's a long game, but the actual amount of action happening is not that big. Is it because we like to hear ourselves talk? Maybe.
comes to comedy, it's satisfactorily, I think, obvious that the American comic hero is a wisecracker who is above his material and who is above the idiots around him. And the British comic, put it this way, the American comic hero, like John Belushi or someone like that, you know that scene in Animal House where there's a fellow playing folk music on a guitar, and John Belushi picks up the guitar and destroys it. And he just smashes it and then waggles his eyebrows at the camera.
Americans, they see...
What? That's it? The American comic hero is someone who is witty and above others. I think his point there is British comedy heroes. British comedy is different. It's not about being better than other people. And oftentimes, British comedy is about being disparaging and poking fun at yourself. Whereas in America, yeah, a lot of times the comedy is making fun of someone else or one-upping someone else. Um, that's a very accurate observation, actually. I think that says something about our cultures. Yeah, that's interesting.
Seem to be very envious about intelligence and the idea of actually being with someone who's sort of intelligent, well-informed and educated, Ivy League, not a proper American, And so there's a sort of...
Here he goes again. What are we saying? We're saying that the American way of life is not being with somebody that's too intelligent or educated? Is that what he said?
Of envy of that with the result that they want someone that they'll be comfortable with who is not going to be terribly bright or very highly intelligent or awfully sharp or very good judge of people. That's rather alarming.
American.
Oh my God, that is rather alarming. Do I think all Americans don't want to be with intelligent, educated, successful people? No, I don't necessarily agree with that one. I wonder what they were even talking about there. That's I mean, I'm really trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and think about the words that he's saying. Like, a lot of Americans don't want to be with people that are too smart. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Optimism is a really important thing. If you go to an American bookshop, by far the biggest section is self-help and improvement. The idea that
True.
life is refinable and improvable, and that you can learn a technique for anything, whether it's lovemaking, being a businessman, a marriage, cooking, losing weight. Whatever it is, there's an NLP way of doing it. There's an Anthony Robbins way of doing it. There's a things they didn't teach you at Harvard way of doing it. There's an unbelievable sense that life is improvable, that you can be lectured at, or indeed given a sermon at. That's
like what's happening right now with us listening to him. But putting that aside, that's an interesting. He has a lot of interesting observations, actually. And John Cleese, too, but in, different ways. Stephen Fry here. Are Americans obsessed with self-help? Yeah, I think I've noticed that. I can't say I personally walk into too many bookstores these days, but even just self-help on the internet or YouTube videos about self-help are, meteorically on the rise. Whether that's learning something, a skill, or, bodybuilding, or all those types of things are immensely popular now on YouTube as well. What does that say about America? Does he make a point about what that says? Is it bad that we want to improve ourselves, or is it bad that we are in desperate search of improvement? On its face, it sounds like a good thing to me.
It's the Protestant base of America that things are done by text and by works, as opposed to by submission and by, a doctrine in the way that the higher church, European rump, we still believe.
There are many Christians.
Not sure what he's getting at with that last bit, but the self-help obsession, is that a good or a bad thing? If you're trying to solve all your problems from a textbook, that it's better than doing nothing. And in some cases, it probably really helped people. But at the same time, I guess you want to improve yourself by actually doing things and solving your own problem. Is that the point he's trying to make? I'm not exactly sure.
In the United States who seem to think that capitalism and Protestantism are almost interchangeable. A rather unpleasant joke that was told in America and it involved a particular immigrant culture. And the joke was, how do you get this how do you get the maximum number of people of this immigrant culture into the back of a Volkswagen? And the answer was throwing a coin in the back of it.
What? What are we talking about here? Yes, that's not a good joke.
Life, I have been what you might call a lefty, a liberal. I've been on marches. I grew up knowing that I was gay. I character myself mostly as a social justice warrior. I want racism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, bullying, bigotry, intolerance of all human kinds to end. I think we all instinctively know that there is some kind of problem. There isn't censorship. Of course not in the way that there is in Russia. I've been to
This is a debate on political correctness. Interesting.
Russia. I faced off with a deeply homophobic and unpleasant man, and there's political correctness in Russia. It's just political correctness on the right. Russell Means, who was a friend of mine towards the end, who founded the American Indian movement, he said, "Oh, for God's sake, call me an Indian or a Lakota Sioux or Russell. I don't care what you call me. It's how we're treated that matters."
They're so...
Oops. Okay. Well, I can't say I understand everything that they're talking about and what point they're trying to make on everything. And some of this stuff, it was all pretty much related to America. Some of it got a little out there, but that's okay. Interesting stuff. And I have to at least commend their, passion about talking about some interesting ideas and interesting observations. I don't know. This was not exactly what I anticipated when I read the title, which was just John Cleese, Stephen Fry talking about Americans. Talked about some more, I don't know, interesting kind of out there ideas, which is good. It's good. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on anything John Cleese and Stephen Fry had to say here today. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain and British culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.